Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Open House 2021. This is the college welcome for College of Engineering. We are so excited to have you here today. First off, we're going to start off with a message from the Provost, Cynthia Jackson Elmore.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open House and welcome to Cal Poly. I am Dr. Cynthia Jackson Elmore, and I serve as Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs at Cal Poly. The Provost is the lead academic officer of a university. I oversee all 6 colleges, as well as the Robert E. Kennedy Library, University Advising, the Transfer Student Center, International and Extended Education, and many departments you will encounter during your time at Cal Poly. I hope that you've enjoyed the first few days of our virtual open house and that you are looking forward to engaging with your college, departments, and additional academic services today. The deans, department heads and chairs, faculty and staff in our colleges and across the university have been hard at work to make today as helpful as possible to you. Whether you've already committed to attend Cal Poly or you are still making your decision, Open House is an important and exciting step in your college journey. And I am glad that you have joined us today. I encourage you to ask questions today and beyond. We are eager to help you and to talk about Cal Poly, and I am sure you are eager to learn. I'm thrilled to welcome you to Cal Poly, and I hope you have a wonderful open house experience. Thank you for being a part of this week's event. Take care.
Now we will hear from Dean Fleischer.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here with us today. My name is Dr. Amy Fleischer, and I am Dean of the College of Engineering. And we have a lot of really exciting things to talk about today. And first off, congratulations to you and to your supporters for your road so far in your college planning process. We are excited that you are thinking about attending Cal Poly, and we're really hoping that at Cal Poly you find the home that you're looking for. We are one of the most outstanding engineering programs in the country. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play a quick video about why I chose Cal Poly. And we hope that some of these reasons will resonate with you.
When I was touring to come to Cal Poly, I got a tour from a civil engineering major that partook in the concrete canoe project, and he was so excited about it and showed us the shed. And I realized that you could be an engineering student but still partake in activities like this where you're working hands-on on a project right away.
It's great to be a part of the Learn by Doing philosophy here and work with students to develop products and ideas that are going to impact people's lives.
My sister went here, and she just always told me about how the learning environment was so helpful. We were all everyone was together, and it made you want to learn more and help discover with your classmates. And she just always wanted to share that with me, and she really wanted me to go with her. And now I'm here.
I chose Cal Poly because I have a passion for undergraduate education. I've focused my career on working with students, and I wanted to be part of the creative, innovative, inclusive undergraduate program that is Cal Poly. And of course, when the day is done, the beach, the mountains, and the 300 days of sunshine make San Luis Obispo an amazing place to call home.
Apart from coursework at Cal Poly, you get a lot of hands-on experience. And one example is Camp Poly Hacks. And this is a hackathon I led this year. Basically, 150 students came together and they worked on social problems and made a startup in a whole day.
when it comes to engineering within the state of California, and specifically schools that focus on teaching or educating future engineers, you'll be hard-pressed to find a school that does as well as Cal Poly.
I chose Cal Poly because of the wonderful hands-on experience we get here with machines and actually being able to practice what we study in theory.
I've always been very interested in the bio side of things, but then when I started back at school, I discovered I had a passion for math. I remember looking up Cal Poly's website for the first time and just that Dropbox window, and it just listed the engineering, different types of engineering that they have to offer. When I read biomedical, I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting.
The location and the weather are obviously amazing. The lab settings here at Cal Poly are great. They really fulfill the learn by doing motto, which really fits my learning style. And I've actually noticed that while being at Cal Poly, the transition between the classroom and into my internship settings has been very smooth. Cal Poly also has a multitude of clubs available for its students, and I really noticed that during open house. And I found my home away from home at NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, which helped me land my internship as well as meet new people.
It's just really cool that it doesn't take that long to make something that is able to be used immediately.
I have made the decision to come to Cal Poly 2 different times. As a student, I came here to play volleyball and to be an engineering major. And then I decided to come again as a faculty member after finishing my PhD in 2007. And I would say the reason I came here both times was the same. One was the people that I met, and one was the labs.
At first, I wasn't really sure I even wanted to go to college. And that was probably because I had moved around so much as a kid. I'd gone to like 10 different schools. But my mom told me, this is a great school, it has a great engineering program, and I really think you'd fit in well. I kind of had this transient nature about me. I thought that I would continue wanting to move around, but because I joined clubs and got involved on campus, I really felt grounded and I knew I wanted to stay here.
Big word we'll use around here is first day ready, and we really mean it.
So I hope that gave you a feel for some of the reasons that some of our students have chosen Cal Poly. I'll talk a little bit what our agenda is for this morning. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the college and how you find your home at the college. And then we have students who are going to tell you a little bit about their story here at Cal Poly as well. We do have the opportunity for you to attend specific department events. Here, because the college is large, we have 14 different degree programs. We have 6,000 different students, and we only have 45 minutes here today. We won't be going in detail into any one of the individual majors, but we really encourage you to attend the department-specific events and learn more about the department and the major that you've been admitted into. And we're going to put the links to those individual department events in the chat so that you know when you can attend those. So that's a really great resource for you for specific major questions. Many of you are already taking advantage of the Q&A. That's the best way to kind of get those specific questions out to us. And we have a team behind the scenes who are working on getting all of your questions answered as they come in. You should be able to see all the questions that everyone else has asked, so you can go through and see what everybody else is asking as well to get more information. And on our team behind the scenes today, we have people from admissions and housing as well who are able to answer your questions. So feel free to use that Q&A as much as possible. We won't be doing live Q&A because of the number of people in attendance today. But get your questions answered in the chat. So I want to talk a little bit about what makes Cal Poly engineering special. And I chose Cal Poly I've been here as dean for 3 years now. And the reason that I chose to come to Cal Poly and be a part of this amazing engineering school is because I believe deeply and at my core that learn by doing is the best way to learn engineering. And I believe that there's no other school in the country that does as good a job at learn by doing as Cal Poly does. And when we talk about learn by doing, that's in your classes and it's outside your classes as well. We embed learn by doing into everything we're doing throughout our culture. There's so many opportunities to actually act as an engineer while you're still learning engineering. And it creates a culture for us where we all know that we can try. And that's the best way of learning. And we create a culture where trying is what you want to do. And the engineering design process is such that we design, we build, we test, we see what works, we see what didn't work, we redesign, we build, we test. So learn by doing is just part of that. We try, not everything's going to work the first time, and that's okay. And we learn that this is how we learn and this is how we become better engineers. Even if we weren't successful the first time, we learned what didn't work, and it makes our design better the next time we go through. I think this gives Cal Poly engineers a bias towards action and a confidence in learning that you're not going to see with other students. And a story that I like to tell about that is I was talking to one of our women electrical engineering students last year. It was probably 2 years ago, because she was heading out on a summer internship. And she said, Dean Fleischer, I'm so excited. I'm going out on my internship and I can't wait till it starts. I'm like, that's great. What are you going to be doing on your internship? And she said, oh, it's so awesome. I'm going to a robotics company and I don't know anything about robotics. So I'm going to get to learn so much. And I think that really just embodies exactly what we're trying to teach here at Cal Poly, that when you don't learn something, recognize and find the opportunity and don't be afraid to try. And I just think at so many other schools that if you didn't know anything about robotics, you might not even would have applied for that internship. And here, instead of seeing not knowing something about robotics as a barrier to entry, we see it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn, and it works. And it works, and it creates these amazing ready day one engineers. There's so many, I keep talking about so many opportunities, and you saw some of this in the video, that there's so many clubs and so many places you can get involved in Cal Poly engineering. We have more than 80 clubs across the college, and there's many more across the university. And this gives you the chance to find your home and to find your passion and find that hands-on activity, so you're doing things in and out of the classroom. And we can group our clubs into maybe 3 main types of groups. And the first type of group might be your professional clubs. And these are going to be the clubs in each one of our majors, whether it's the Industrial Engineering Club or the Biomedical Student Engineering Club or the American Society of Mechanical Engineers or the Institute for Electrical and Electronic Engineers. This is where you're going to build those professional skills to learn how to act as an engineer. And then we have things that are like special interest clubs. And these are going to be cross-cutting across a whole bunch of different activities. And we have labs like Techie, where they're building customized prosthetic solutions for people who have needs in our community. Or there's Hackathon, or there's Rose Float. And every year, Cal Poly builds a Rose Float in partnership with Cal Poly Pomona. And 2 years ago, when I went to the Rose Parade, our float was the first one down the street because they know nobody builds better than Cal Poly does. So these are really great opportunities to put your engineering skills that you're developing into action. And they don't even have to be engineering activities if you don't want to. The majority of students in the Cal Poly band are engineers. So there's ways that you can continue the things that you're passionate about through our club activities. And then I would say one of the final groupings is our competition clubs. And there is so many different competitions for engineers. You saw the concrete canoe in the video. There's also a lot of race teams. There's a lot of vehicle teams. There's a Hyperloop team. If you want to build something, you want to compete, and Cal Poly Engineering wins most of these competitions. Multiple national championships in concrete canoe, multiple national championships in steel bridge. 2 years ago, we set the land speed record for human-powered vehicles. So there's so many different opportunities for you to get involved and build something from the ground up. We put an emphasis also on undergraduate research opportunities. And that's one of the unique things about being at a school like Cal Poly, where our emphasis is on the undergraduate student experience. We don't have PhD students. So when our faculty are working on cutting edge applied research, who's working with them in the labs and who's making this happen? It's our undergraduate students. There are numerous opportunities to get involved in the fascinating things that our faculty are working on. And that's both during the academic year and during the summer when we run a summer undergraduate research program. So there's tons of opportunities for you to get involved and to learn what engineering is doing at the leading edge. Sometimes we get students asking about double majoring or minoring. I'm going to be upfront with you. Double majoring in engineering is incredibly difficult, and it wouldn't be the first thing I would recommend. But there are a lot of really cool and interesting minors that our students take, and these span the gamut from things like entrepreneurship to data science to bioinformatics, science, technology, and society. Where do we impact society around us, and how do we understand the role that we play as engineers? There's computing for the interactive arts. There's heavy civil construction management. There's just so many different opportunities to explore these interdisciplinary opportunities. And what we take really seriously in the college is trying to promote a sense of belonging for all of our students so that everybody has a home. Affinity groups provide a supportive home for our students. We have the National Society of Black Engineers. We have SHEP, we have the Society of Women Engineers, we have Women in Science and Hardware. We want you to find that home, that place where you have that community and it provides the support that you need. We have a multicultural engineering program. There's so many opportunities to find your home, find your community, and be able to succeed here at Cal Poly. So we're working very hard to create an environment where all of our voices are heard, where everyone's safe and we're free to be your own authentic self and really to achieve and learn in that safe environment. We feel our learn by doing approach to education is going to prepare you to be ready for the workforce no matter what. A Cal Poly degree is going to open so many doors for you. We have employers lined up at the door to hire our students. So many that our career fair is a standing room only affair. Apple has its own career fair with our students every year. Is one of our #1 employers. And our most recent data shows 93% placement of all students within 6 months of graduation. So if you come to Cal Poly Engineering, you will be successful. You will get the skills you need, you will find the community you need, and you will leave with a strong knowledge of what it means to be an engineer. So with that, I want to turn it over to our students and let them talk a little bit about what their experience has been here. So our first student speaker is Naina Tiwari. Naina is a third-year computer engineering and physics major from Granite Bay, California. She's here as the department liaison from Women Involved in Software and Hardware. In her free time, she likes to climb at the rec center, read, and cook. So Naina, we're interested in hearing about your experience at Cal Poly.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Naina. I am a third year. So it's been a while since I chose to come here, but I was so excited that I got into the school and that I ended up deciding to come here. I had a few reasons for making that decision. One of the main ones is that Cal Poly has really small class sizes. And so I had always heard about other large schools where you're getting taught your classes by TAs or people who are not your professor, but that doesn't happen at Cal Poly. You always learn directly from a faculty member and you actually get to work with them directly in office hours. So anytime you have questions about homework, you actually talk directly to the person teaching you the class and not someone else, which I was really excited to do. And other things that Dean Fleischer mentioned that were also big draws to me were the job placement rate and the fact that this campus is mostly full of undergrads. So all the opportunities, all the clubs, all the cool projects that you can be a part of, those are for you as undergrads, and you can get involved in your first and second years. So I guess some of the things that I ended up liking, I found out after I came here. Another thing about Cal Poly is that everyone is so supportive of each other. Like in your classes, you're like often just working on homework with other people. In clubs, you're always collaborating with people who are older than you and who know more and who can teach you outside of the classroom. And I just feel like everyone is so helpful and always wants to see everyone else do well as well. So I just feel like Cal Poly has such a great sense of community. Even if you aren't in a club together with someone, it's always great to talk to people and to get to know everyone in your classes. And I've gotten involved in a lot of different things. As Dean Fleischer said, there's so many opportunities on campus. So I spent my first year kind of bouncing around between band and like Cal Poly robotics. And I ended up joining SWE and engineering ambassadors. And those are all great communities, but I didn't really find Wish until my second year. And it has become such a great supportive community, especially online. I feel like in classes where there are a lot of men around, having a group of women and allies to talk to every week and to have like fun socials with, but we also have like recruiting events and all kinds of things to help us in our time here at Cal Poly. So it's always been great to have that community and that home within the huge university. Another club that I've really felt like has become a home for me is Cal Poly CubeSat Lab. So we are a lab on campus that manufactures, designs, tests, and operates satellites that orbit the Earth and perform missions as they should. So actually something I worked on virtually over the summer is launching very soon, which I'm really excited about. And so I didn't know the Cal Poly CubeSat Lab existed before I came to Cal Poly, but we actually originated the CubeSat standard and we're a huge part of the Cube satellite community. So I'm really glad that I was able to come here and get involved with that research. Even as an undergrad, getting to launch satellites is the coolest thing ever. Another home I found, which you'll probably go to if you do come here, is I worked part-time as a peer advisor at our engineering student services. So you have incredible advisors here who are always there to help you get through your classes and figure out how you're going to graduate. I had such a great set of coworkers in that our little building by the rec center. And I loved working with students and helping everyone make sure that they could graduate on time. So I think that like working on campus is totally doable. I have a second major, so it's doable if you can do it. But even then, like minors are great, clubs are great, and just being involved in anything that interests you is such a great part of Cal Poly. You can walk up to any door, any club meeting and be like, hey, I want to join your club, and someone will take you in and introduce you to everything and get you started. That's like my favorite part about Cal Poly. So yeah.
Thank you, Nana. And I know that you and Wish are making a difference in the lives of our students in computing engineering field. So thank you for being a part of that. All right, our next student that we're going to hear from is Hector Delgado Marquez. Hector is a fourth-year aerospace engineering student at Cal Poly and the vice president of the Society of Hispanic and Professional Engineers. In his free time, he enjoys hiking around the Central Coast and participating in PolySat projects.
Hey everyone, my name is Hector, and thanks for the introduction, Dean Fleischer. And originally, when I came to Cal Poly, before I made the decision, I had been accepted to a couple of other universities in California. And like most students, I decided to go and take a tour of Cal Poly and all the other campuses. And the thing that really stuck out to me and the reason why I ended up choosing Cal Poly was the access that we were going to have as undergraduate students to all of the different labs. I remember stepping onto campus in April of my senior year of high school and seeing the CubeSat laboratory from a distance and seeing how as an undergraduate student, as a freshman, I'd be able to access that laboratory and get to work on actual satellites that would eventually go into space. Aside from that, I also liked the campus. I thought that the Central Coast was very beautiful, and I was a very outdoorsy type person in high school, and I still am. And so because of that, I decided to choose to come to Cal Poly. Aside from that, when I came in the fall, I kind of struggled in finding my community at first. I came from the Central Valley of California, which is a very diverse area, and coming to Cal Poly, I kind of experienced culture shock at first. And so naturally, because of that, I gravitated towards joining a cultural club, and immediately I kind of gravitated towards SHIP, which stands for the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And I went to the first meeting, and I remember meeting a lot of students who had similar experiences as the ones that I had gone through growing up, and who were at Cal Poly majoring in engineering too. And because of this, I met a lot of inspiring people who essentially created and have and are what consist of my support system. And if it wasn't for Cal Poly SHIP, I wouldn't have been able to join other clubs like NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, or participate in programs through MEP, which is the Multicultural Engineering Program. If it wasn't for the support system that I was able to get through SHIP and NSBE, I wouldn't have been able to have the opportunity to study abroad as an undergraduate student. I wouldn't have the opportunity to find an internship that I was able to get after my sophomore year and after my junior year. I also just wouldn't have the confidence to build a community at Cal Poly. It was very difficult, but I think joining cultural clubs or any kind of club that might have an interest that you're interested in really helps you start somewhere at Cal Poly, and over time you end up building that community. But that was my experience with joining SHIP and NSBE. SHIP and NSBE kind of exist to provide that platform for you to grow. And because of SHIP and NSBE, I was able to eventually build up the confidence over 2 years to eventually apply to PolySat. And after getting rejected, I think like 3 or 4 times, I eventually got into the club. And if it wasn't for like I mentioned, MEP and SHIP and NSBE, I wouldn't have had the support system to be able to go through those applications. And I guess aside from that, I am also a first generation college student, and it was really hard to navigate the undergraduate engineering experience at Cal Poly. And so I really took advantage of resources like MEP, as well as the Mustang Success Center, Engineering Student Services, all these different services that exist to help students out. They really helped cultivate my experience and find my familia here at Cal Poly. And I know it can be difficult, especially the culture shock when you visit Cal Poly. It's not the most diverse area, but I do think that if you give it a shot, give it a chance, you'll find your family away from home. That'll definitely make your experience at Cal Poly a lot better, and you'll have a much smoother transition to coming to Cal Poly.
So Hector, I have a question for you. So as you were going through it, and PolySat is one of our few clubs that you have to apply into, because it's not exactly a club, it's more of a professional organization that's actually building and creating satellites that get launched. And we've launched, I think, 7 satellites into space so far. What made you stick with it? You said you had to apply 3-4 times to get in. What gave you that confidence just to keep trying? And I think that's a great way of showing like that whole try again field, but what made you stick with that?
So there's a story of this astronaut. His name is astronaut Jose Hernandez. And his whole premise is that he applied to NASA 11 times and he didn't get in the first 10 times, and the 11th time he was finally accepted. And so hearing his story and how he's a farmer and he kind of like grew up in a similar situation as I did, his story was so inspiring that it kind of pushed me that eventually I might get in. And the point of that is to always bring a new skill and to try and make yourself a little bit better. And definitely SHIP and MEP helped me become much more presentable and make my application better. But I think the fact that PolySat is such a prestigious organization, and like we mentioned it a lot, but it's an undergraduate experience at Cal Poly. I just wanted to really get that shot at eventually touching something that would go to space.
That's really cool. I love that story. And it's a good example of like, if you can see it, you can believe it, right? So just
exactly
keep trying. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Hector. Right. Our next student speaker is Sanjana Gandala. Sanjana is a 4th-year computer science student enrolled in the computer science blended program. The blended program is the program that allows you to pursue your master's degree simultaneously with your undergraduate degree. She's currently the president of the Cal Poly Society of Women Engineers and has been involved in SWE since her freshman year. So let's welcome Sanjana and hear what she has to say.
Hi, everyone. So I go by Sanj. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And as Dean Fleischer said, I've been involved with SWE since my freshman year. which is a big way I found my community here at Cal Poly. But before I go into that, I'd talk about a little bit about why I chose Cal Poly. When I was a senior in high school, I also attended open house, and I really resonated with the learn by doing motto in that aspect, because personally, I know I learn a lot better through projects and direct applications rather than testing and like theoretical concepts. So I was really drawn to that, as well as all the students who were there when I came to this session talked a lot about their technical projects and their technical experiences. And that really is what drew me to Cal Poly. So when I joined SWE, I joined through Team Tech, which is a year-long multidisciplinary project. And that was just a really cool opportunity for me as a freshman to work on this year-long huge project sponsored by Lockheed Martin. And I got to see the whole engineering design process from start to finish. We researched, designed, and built and tested this large project. I worked with students outside of my major. I got to do like EE things, mechanical engineering things. So it really just put me outside my comfort zone and built up my technical and professional skills. So after that, I wanted to kind of continue with Team Tech, and that's how I got involved with SWE. And really joining SWE as an organization helped me find both my community and just helped me realize what I wanted to do during my time at Cal Poly and in the future. Through InSWE, we have like outreach opportunities, network opportunities, mentorship, and it really just gave me a platform for me to like share things I'm passionate about and make an impact on students. I got to go to elementary schools and like work with fourth graders on like projects, and seeing them be so excited about engineering just made me so excited to be like, okay, cool, like I'm becoming what they want to be. And it really just helped me gain confidence. It was also really nice to have a community of students who could relate to what I was going through, because college is difficult at times, as Nana and Hector kind of touched on that. Like there are a lot of challenges. So it's nice to have students who understand what you're going through, whether that's like classes or imposter syndrome or just confidence. Like overall, it's really nice to have that community. And coming to Cal Poly, I think was like the best decision. My mom actually recommended Cal Poly, and to this day, she's like, that is the best thing I ever told you to do, you know? Because the small class sizes, just I really felt like I could get the attention I needed from professors and other students. Even though like classes were difficult at times, all my professors and my TAs and other students were really helpful and supportive. And like I said, I just got such a good community here. The students I've met in my classes and through SWE, I've actually ended up becoming my closest friends, and I live with them now. So it really worked out. And then in general, I'm also part of other things on campus like TEDx San Luis Obispo, which is not an engineering organization. It's just a nonprofit organization where we put together a large TEDx event. And that was also a really cool opportunity because I got to meet students completely outside of engineering and work on this amazing nonprofit event. And lastly, something I've kind of talked about in the Q&A was I'm part of the blended program here at Cal Poly, which is super cool because I get to do my bachelor's and master's in 5 years. I've always known that I wanted to get my master's, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of school. So getting it done in 5 years is really great. And I get to both do a senior project where I have done the initial research for my thesis, and I get to continue that. So I basically get to spend 2 years working on this large project, and hopefully we'll be able to finish that next year. And so if you have any questions about the blended program, I'd be happy to answer that as well. Yeah, overall, I've really enjoyed my time at Cal Poly. I think it's made me a better student and leader, and I've really grown these past 4 years. So I highly recommend attending.
Yeah, and Sanjana, so with Society of Women Engineers, you have close to 1,000 members, right?
Yeah, so SWE, talk a little bit more about that, is one of the largest organizations on campus. We have almost 1,000 members. We do stuff from outreach, where we outreach to elementary, middle school, high school, and community college students. pre-COVID, we would like go to classrooms and do engineering projects with them. And we also like would invite high school students to come during open house and stay with an upperclassman in their major. We also do membership stuff, so bonding events, mentoring. That's actually how I got involved with SWE too, is I was assigned like a mentor who was in computer science and a couple years older than me. And she was like, you should join SWE, it's a great club. And she also really guided me through my first year of college and gave me advice on like what classes to take and what would be difficult. And then lastly, we do a lot of networking events with companies. We have a huge evening with industry dinner where we invite like, I think it's almost, we have 300 people attend every year at Madonna, and we have like 30 companies come and mingle with students. So they're all amazing opportunities.
Yeah, and with SWE, there's so many opportunities to get involved in leadership. I think your leadership team 35 leaders, right? So it's, I mean, you're running an organization of 1,000 people, 35 leaders built up. And 2 years ago, when we had the national SWE conference in Anaheim, the faculty advisor for SWE was named National SWE Advisor of the Year. So it's a wonderful group.
Yeah, Helene is our advisor and she's amazing. She's been involved for years, so she knows everything about SWE. But again, to talk, I could keep going on about SWE for hours, but we also have great opportunities to go to national and local conferences. And that's also how a lot of our members get their first internships, because there's huge career fairs and networking opportunities at these conferences. And it's just a really great way to meet students in other SWE sections like across the nation. And as Dean Fleischer said, SWE typically does pretty well with the awards at conferences as well.
So, well, thank you, Sanjana. I really appreciate your perspective today. So, and our next student is Lauren Barrera-Rennie. Lauren is a third-year biomedical engineering student from Los Angeles County. She's involved in the Society of Hispanic and Professional Engineers, as well as new student and transitioning programming and on-campus research. So Lauren, can you tell us a little bit about your experience at Cal Poly?
Yes, I can. So just to reiterate, my name is Lauren. My pronouns are she, hers, and I'm a third-year BMed, as we call it here, or biomedical engineering student. Well, I come from a very mixed, like an interesting background. I would say no one in my family except my older brother is an engineer. And when he went to college, I kind of like watched from afar, like what he was doing and like, how is he doing it? Because we really had no idea. I just know he had like kind of a math brain in my head. And he was an environmental engineer in his college years. And for me, when I started applying to college, I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it, right? So at the time, I was actually waitlisted for Cal Poly, and I was pretty set on going to UC San Diego for my major instead. And I got in, obviously. And one random day in May, my dad and I just decided to drive up to Cal Poly, and I fell in love. Basically, my experience has been amazing because I think what you get here is just, again, everyone's been saying it, the hands-on experience and small classroom sizes, as well as just finding your home away from home. Coming from Los Angeles County, it's not too far of a drive either, so it's pretty accessible to my family, which was also a big factor for me as well. I've have had hard experiences here for sure. I think it took a minute to get adjusted to both the culture shock, as some other speakers today have talked about, and as well as just like the quarter system. It is a very fast-paced 10-week to take classes, and I did struggle with my grades in the beginning, but now I'm at the point in my third year where I'm very confident with how to handle the workload. And even so, I've just like found like just my identity through like Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and now currently new student and transition programming. To talk a little bit more about new student and transition programming, that's basically if you do choose to come to Cal Poly, you all will participate in the week of welcome. And it is about a week where we just immerse you into an experience. You get a group of other wowies, as we like to call y'all, and with the 2 WOW leaders, and you'll have a week of fun. I'm not too sure if it's virtual or if it's hybrid this year, but becoming a part of new student transition programming has just been an amazing way. I would highly recommend to do the cross-cultural experiences, or CCE for short. You find just more like-minded people if you come from a background, but anybody is like able to participate in as well. During my time at Cal Poly, I've also been involved in university housing as a resident advisor, and as well as just asking my professor straight up to be involved in his research, and he was more than happy to say yes. I think here you just really, those connections you make with professors and students are what makes or breaks your experience here. And I never would have had the confidence to literally ask my professor, hey, can I be a part of this research opportunity my freshman year? Even that, like, to emphasize that point, I didn't even join SHEP until my second year because I was very shy and just kept to myself. And I kind of like a little bit regret that now. So I would say coming to Cal Poly, just go for it. Like completely just immerse yourself in the experience because you never know what's going to happen. And everybody here today are part of amazing experiences, and across the board, whatever College of Engineering major you are, you will find something and a group to be a part of and love over time.
Lauren, I think that's a really great point about just asking, right? And I think everybody at Cal Poly is more than willing to help, and often we extend those hands out. But if the hand isn't being extended, just asking for the opportunity, and often it will lead to something. So when you asked your professor to work in his research, was it a male professor you were asking to work in his research lab? What was the response?
He said, of course, but I think it was just because I had him for one of my classes. His name is Dr. Witt. And I really made those connections during that class to like participate as much as I could and ask as many questions. So by the time like the quarter ended, I got my grade, I felt a little bit more confident to ask him. And he was more than happy to say yes. And I'm still on that project, and it's been really great.
Yeah, and I think all of our professors, are incredibly approachable. And, to point out, we have things called office hours, and that's when you're supposed to go in and ask your questions and take advantage of them and get to know your faculty. Otherwise, they're just sitting there alone. They want you to come by and ask questions, but sometimes people are nervous to take advantage of those, and that's how you make these connections, like Lauren did, to be able to leverage that then into a position in a research lab, which is really cool. Congratulations, Lauren.
Thank you.
So, and then our final student speaker is Elizabeth Callahan. Elizabeth is a 4th-year civil engineering major from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She's currently president of the College of Engineering Ambassadors. In her free time, she loves reading, hiking, and going to the beach. Elizabeth?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to virtual Cal Poly. I really wish we were all able to be together for open house in person, but I hope after hearing some of our students talk, you can feel how much passion we all have for Cal Poly, because it really is genuine. So as Dean Fleischer said, my name is Liz. I'm the president of the College of Engineering Ambassadors here. I am a 4th-year civil engineering student, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So when I was first looking at colleges, I basically had no idea what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be an engineer, but I didn't really know what I should be looking for in colleges. And I honestly applied to Cal Poly on a whim at the encouragement of my brother, not really thinking I would get in, but then I did. So I ended up flying to California to tour Cal Poly, and I realized I found exactly the kind of school that I was looking for. So Cal Poly is famous for our learn by doing philosophy. I know you're sick of hearing that phrase by now, but it really is so ingrained in our engineering program. I've spent countless hours in labs testing material properties or fluid dynamics and just so much more. And my all-time favorite class I've taken here was a civil engineering lab. in which we actually got to measure, pour, and test concrete samples. And so having that hands-on experience gave me such a deeper understanding of my own major. And the engineering labs are what really sold Cal Poly for me. And, of course, the proximity to the beach might have also had, a small impact. But now that I'm a senior, I know that I definitely made the right decision. The students at Cal Poly also played a big role in my decision to come here. Just from walking around campus, I could feel the positive energy in and out of the classroom. Cal Poly students are some of the most encouraging people I have ever met. My absolute favorite thing about our engineering program is how collaborative it is, which I think other students have already touched on tonight. The atmosphere here is the furthest thing from competitive. All of us are working together, not against each other. And if I ever need help with something, all I need to do is reach out, and I'll find many helping hands in my friends, my classmates, and professors. Maybe it was an East Coast, West Coast difference, but when I first came to Cal Poly, I was honestly shocked at how amazingly kind everyone was. So obviously I ended up going to college very far from home, but everything about Cal Poly made it worth it for me. I feel like I created a whole new home on the other side of the country, and the friends I've made here have become such an indispensable part of my life. So if I could go back and give myself any advice, it would be to jump in head first, as Lauren kind of said. Going to college is scary, and I was much more shy and timid as a freshman than I am now. But if I could go back, I would just tell myself, everyone is just as scared as you. Introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you, join that club that sounds cool, even though you don't know anyone in it. It's really important to get involved. And I, as Lauren said, I'm just going to echo, when I was a freshman, I let fear stop me from joining more clubs and getting more involved. So I think the people and the environment of whatever college you choose are just as important as the academics. Cal Poly obviously has a wonderful engineering program, and you will learn so much so fast, but Cal Poly also has wonderful people who will encourage you and help you along the way. And I would just like to wrap up by encouraging you all to come to one of our College of Engineering info sessions. The engineering ambassadors host Q&A style info sessions 3 times a week, and you'll get a much closer glimpse into our engineering program. So you can sign up on the Cal Poly admissions website. And yeah, I wish you guys all the best in your college search, and I hope you find your home away from home at Cal Poly. Go Mustangs.
Well, that's great, Elizabeth, and I'm glad that you gave the shout out to the info sessions. And I was going to ask you too, even if you didn't, because this is a great opportunity to meet with our ambassadors. Are in non-COVID times, there are engineering tour guides, and they want to engage with all of our potential students. And because we're not running physical tours, they're doing these info sessions online, and sometimes there's only 2 or 3 other students there, and you can hop on and you can chat right with a student and ask all your questions directly. So it's a really good opportunity, and I appreciate everything you and the ambassadors are doing for our students. So thank you, Elizabeth. All right, so I think we've gotten a really good feel and flavor for some of the different activities in the college. Like I said, you'll get better input into the exact major and the curriculum around that if you attend one of our department info sessions that will get you that detailed information that you will need there. And I know sometimes when you come into these sessions and you're thinking about going to college, and you see the students and talking about their experience, and as a high school student trying to decide something, you're like, oh my gosh, these students are so accomplished, I'm never going to be like them. And I swear you will. You're going to be one of these students. One of you out there on this website are likely to be helping me with some of these outreaches in future years. And I know you have that potential, and I know you're going to be just as successful as the students that you've heard talking today. So we're going to wrap up. Since we can't take a physical tour, we have a virtual tour video that we're going to kick off now and give you a feel and flavor for our facilities.
Hi, I'm Amy Fleischer, Dean of the College of Engineering. Every day, I get to see the innovative, creative, and impactful things our faculty and students are doing here on campus. and I find it really inspiring. If you're considering attending Cal Poly, we'd really love to show you in person how our students and faculty are making a difference while preparing for the future. But for the moment, let me take you on a little virtual tour. Whenever we talk about Cal Poly, we're proud to share our Learn by Doing ethos, the university's unique hands-on approach to learning that gives our students a competitive edge. Learn by Doing is particularly emphasized here in engineering, where you can see our students designing, creating, and testing throughout the year. It's pretty remarkable. There's always something interesting going on. One hub of activity is the Bonderson Project Center, located in the Engineering Plaza. When he was an electrical engineering student at Cal Poly, future Silicon Valley entrepreneur Paul Bonderson had to perform his senior project work in his garage due to a lack of space on campus. Years later, he and his wife Sandy supported this modern facility that's home to the Mustangs 60 machine shop, open to all students with proper training. Always a hot spot, Bonderson, as we call it, is particularly active as students work to complete their senior projects. The Aero Hangar is a longtime fixture on campus and a place where alumni like aviation pioneer Burt Rattan learn to innovate. It's also a place where you'll find lots of students working on club projects at all hours of the day. The College of Engineering has dozens of clubs, from competition clubs like Cal Poly Racing to clubs that seek to have an impact. Our engineering clubs are in a unique position to make a difference in people's lives, and we've seen many uplifting and dramatic stories unfold here. While some clubs have an impact on individuals with disabilities, others reach far beyond San Luis Obispo and even planet Earth, like our PolySat Club. The CubeSat, a mini satellite that has greatly expanded space research, was co-created right here on Cal Poly's campus. And today, Cal Poly remains a crucial contributor to CubeSat technology. When Bill Nye's Planetary Society sought to have CubeSats travel with a solar sail, a groundbreaking experiment in space exploration, Cal Poly's PolySat lab was used as a mission control for the light sail to launch, and our students continue to monitor its movement in space. Our civil engineering students have won the National Concrete Canoe Championships, sometimes referred to as the America's Cup of Civil Engineering, 5 times in the past decade. And for more than 70 years, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo students have collaborated with Cal Poly Pomona students to build a huge float seen by millions worldwide on New Year's Day. You'll see our students working at the Rose Float Garage the entire year, creating the only student float in the Tournament of Roses parade. Clubs are an excellent way for our students to share their knowledge of various disciplines, and they're a great way to bond. And because it's important for all students to feel like they belong, we strongly support diversity and inclusivity. One of many programs that promote this, our Multicultural Engineering program, provides a strong support network to build a community and provide important bridges for students' academic, personal, and professional success. Every student has the right to succeed in their educational endeavors, and we're especially prepared to make that happen, producing top-notch graduates that will one day become leaders and innovators. Graduates like NASA astronaut Victor Glover, a general engineering alumnus who is preparing to go to the International Space Station. While the general engineering program allows students to mold their educational plan according to their particular interests, our other programs have distinct concentrations, and for each, we provide the tools needed to succeed. In aerospace engineering, for example, our students use our wind tunnel to conduct aerodynamic testing. Through their coursework, aero undergrads have actually worked with organizations like Tesla and NASA to test innovative projects. These industry connections provide students with real-world learning, eye-grabbing resume highlights, and vital career contacts. A big reason industry likes partnering with us is because they want to build a pipeline for future employees. Our graduates will be what we call day one ready, trained by Cal Poly to immediately be contributing members of the workforce. Industry often helps facilitate that by sponsoring labs, like the Cal Poly Northrop Grumman Cyber Lab, which gives faculty the tools to teach computer science and software engineering students about cybersecurity, a rapidly growing field that's crucial to the safety of our nation's infrastructure. Industry support also often helps students focus on societal and workforce needs, including electrical engineering students who learn about building microgrids, industrial and manufacturing engineering students figuring out how to make workflow more efficiently, and biomedical engineering students helping faculty perform important blood vessel research. Industry support comes from private business and governmental agencies like the U.S. Department of Energy, which sponsored research that could help environmental engineering students convert algae to biofuels. We work hard to establish and maintain industry support, and you'll see examples of that throughout our campus. The College of Engineering is one of the most varied on campus, with 10 departments and programs. Some of these cross over, like computer engineering, which teaches students elements of computer hardware and software, while others, like civil engineering, have a more specific focus, concentrating on the physical and naturally built environment. All students are required to complete a culminating experience before graduation. Mechanical engineering students are shown here working on senior projects. These projects have included bike strollers for adults with disabilities, solar-powered generators that could be dropped into disaster zones, and a robot that can detect and put out ember fires. We want to promote that relevant hands-on experience even further, providing these opportunities to students before their senior year. Our summer undergraduate research program pairs students with industry and faculty-sponsored projects with real-world implications. These material engineering students, for example, worked at the Cal Poly Pier to conduct research on artificial reefs, looking at how seawater impacts the corrosion of titanium. Of course, there's much more to see and learn about our college. I hope you'll eventually be able to visit us in person. If you're like me, you'll be in all of our students, faculty, and facilities, and all the exciting work that represents a typical day here at Cal Poly's College of Engineering.
Thanks. I hope you've enjoyed what you've learned today. Our team's going to talk about next steps. We did put in the chat all of the department opportunities, and many of them are starting at 12:30 or 1, so you can take a quick break after we finish up here, and we hope you learn more about the major that you've been admitted into. We wish you the best of luck, and I am turning you over to the open house team to wrap things up.
Thank you so much, Dean Fleischer. And yes, as I said, make sure to check out that chat because there's a lot of great specific engineering sessions happening in a few minutes. Also, for the whole weekend, we encourage you to download our Cal Poly Now app and download the Open House 2021 guide for more information on all the sessions through the coming week. In addition, there is a QR code there as well that will link you to the website. And then as for today, we obviously are in our college welcome right now. If you are an incoming transfer student, there is a transfer session at 1:30. We also have an alumni panel tonight where you can chat with some alumni from the College of Engineering. So make sure to check that out. For tomorrow, we have a supporter session called Coffee House in the Morning. We will have some webinars from Housing and Dining. And tomorrow night, you'll get to see some of our talented Mustangs at our Mustang Night of Talent. But once again, we want to thank you all for attending your College of Engineering welcome. Thank you for the College of Engineering for all your support and doing such a great job. And we hope you have a great rest of your open house, and go Mustangs.
Hi there, my name is Rafael. I'm a fourth-year journalism transfer student with a minor in Spanish, and my pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you for watching the video. Please share any questions or comments you have down below in the comment section, and go ahead and click here to subscribe. And to watch more videos, click here. If you want to sign up for a virtual visit or talk to any student or staff members, check out our website. Link in the description. Thank you for watching.